Bonjour, Bonjana, Bon Jovi, Bon Thing, Bonbons. Alright, welcome to another Homebrew Wednesday, folks. This week I shall be mostly rustling up a mountain goat steam ale, folks. Now, I think it was Dino who gave me the idea to have a bash at this. Although, hello Dino, by the way. Although I've tweaked it a little bit because you got, haven't you? You got to throw your own little part of you into the mix. So the ingredients I'll show you in a second, but basically I'm going to be using a Wilco Pilsner kit as the base because I've done some reading up on the mountain goat, and it's basically Pilsner malt. So I'm going to be replacing that with liquid Pilsner malt. Sounds alright to me. And I had Wilkner. Can't even. I need my teeth, folks. I need a Wilco's Pilsner kit to be used up. It's got dent in it, and it's just been sitting around forever. Although it's got quite a long date on it. I think it's November 2015. That'll be the fridge kicking in, folks. Don't worry about it. There's a beer in there. It's doing its job. Yeah, November 2015 on there. I want to use it up, so because it's one of my oldest kits. So I'm going to be using that as a base. I've got a kilo of light dry malt extract, 500 grams of dry wheat malt, 15 grams of Cascade, 5 grams of Citra, and for the yeast we're going to be using Saflager S23. But what we're going to be doing, folks, is we're going to be fermenting it in my beer fridge just behind me there. You can hear it at 16 degrees for about 2 weeks. I've read what makes the mountain goat steam ale a steam ale is the fact that primarily you're using a lager yeast at ale temperatures. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Hopefully it will turn out alright and we won't have any stuck fermentations. I've had so many problems at the moment, folks, with stuck fermentations, even in my temperature controlled beer fridge. I don't know what's going on there. It's very strange. I've not had any with the liquid cider yeasts. They've been okay. They've all finished perfectly. But for whatever reason, with my Safe Ale USO 5 and even some of the yeasts that have been in the kits, they've just sort of got to, they've fallen out about 1015, something there or thereabouts, you know, and the starting gravities have been about 1040, so there's no reason why they can't come down a little bit more. 1040, 1045 has been the starting gravity. Anyway, I'm going to show you all the bits and bobs on my little table in the kitchen, folks. I'll talk you through that. I'm going to run through it from beginning to end, but this time around I'm going to do it a bit quicker than I usually do. Basically, it's really just to show you about the hop addition, and that goes into the fermenter once we've boiled it all up on the stove for about 10 to 15 minutes. But you'll see that. I probably won't show myself chucking in the lager kit. That's boring, isn't it? You don't want to see that, or the, you know, all of the malt. I don't know. We'll play it as it goes, folks. And I know you skim through these videos, as I skim through them if I've done a few kits before, but really for those people that haven't done a kit, if they stumble upon my video before they stumble upon somebody else's, then obviously for them it's going to be their first video seeing someone brew, so it's really for their benefit, I guess. But I think it's important to show at least, you know, the hop addition aspect of it. Alright? Plus, it's just me doing something different rather than the bog standard turbo ciders, isn't it? So that's all I've got to say for now, folks. I'll see you at the end. We'll have a bit of a chat. Hope you enjoy it. See you later. Hi, folks. So here we are. Here is my mountain goat steam recipe. What I'm going to be using is a tin of Wilco's light delicate Pilsner. As you can see, it's got a dent in it. But never mind. As you can see, the expiry date on the Pilsner is November 15, so that's absolutely fine. We need a kilo of light dry malt extract, so I've got two 500s there from stock. we need 500 grams of spray malt wheat, which is what I've got there, dry wheat malt. I can't even say it. We need 15 grams of Cascade and 5 grams of Citra. And we also need a safe ale, or safe lager rather, S23 yeast, which I don't actually have at hand at the moment because it's in the fridge. But yeah, essentially what we're going to be doing is using all of these ingredients, boiling up some hops and putting together a mountain goat steam ale. Here we go. So here we are then, folks. The same old fermenting bucket with Milton tablets in, because we want to sanitize everything, of course. Everything goes in here. We've got a paddle in there, we've got this siphon in there, we've got some scissors, I've got a tin opener, anything that's basically going to come in contact with our beer. Over here on the top here I've got the lid, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically just spray it out with Star San, put, you know, the stuff I'm going to use later, stuff like the scissors, the tin opener and the paddle on the top of there, on top of the clean lid once I've sprayed it, to keep things, everything all nice and neat and tidy and sanitized. Right chaps, here we are at the beginning. Now I've taken everything out of the bucket there, I've put it onto the lid, as I was saying earlier. That's been sprayed with Star San, so that's all going to be absolutely fine and dandy. This muslin cloth we're going to use, we're going to put it into this sieve. We can put the sieve onto the bucket so we can pour all the hops in and keep all of the hops away from the brew. Some people will pour all the hops into brew, but as we're going to be making a sort of hoppy tea, there's no need for us to do that. What we need to do is we need to bring a litre of water to the boil. So I've got my litre of water here, and we'll just pour that in there. There we go, that's that done. Turn on. We'll leave that about six or two. And what we're going to do, once this has come to the boil, I'm going to add 15 grams of Cascade hops. So let's measure those out now. Here we are, folks. There's our 16 grams of Cascade. I don't mind being a gram over, that's absolutely fine. It smells really nice actually. There's a little tip for you though. When you open up these foils of hops, you'll notice the name of the hop is always at the top. So that when you open the bloody thing, you tend to cut through the name of it. So just make sure you write down what hop it is on the on the little bit and label that's left after you've finished cutting the top off, so that when you go back to it on a later date, you know what it is, because I've done that myself and I've got no idea what bloody hops are. I've got 3 or 4 in the freezer, and I don't know what they are, folks. So a little tip there. So folks, while we're waiting for the water to boil, I've just rehydrating this Saf Lager yeast, S23. That's in there, in the sort of room temperature water, and we'll make sure that that's on the wort within 30 minutes. Right folks, it looks like this water is about to come to boiling point, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these hops, there they are, chuck them in, and we'll start the timer for 15 minutes. Block. Oh. Start again, shall we? We'll come back in 10 minutes rather, folks. 10 minutes. We'll come back. So I'm sure you'll forgive the noise in the background, folks. There's the kettle boiling and the pan boiling and the extractor fans on. But while all that's going on, I've measured out 6 grams of Citra. 6 grams is fine. It's only 21 over. Oh look, it's gone down to 5. 5 grams of Citra. That's going to go in next into the bowl for 5 minutes. Okay guys, we're coming towards the end of the 10 minutes. Right, so we'll stop that. We've got our Citra in, there it is, top block. Plug that in there, give that a little bit of a stir in. And we'll let that go for another 5 minutes. So let's reset this and start it. Boom. We'll come back in 5 minutes and we'll strain it into the fermenting vessel. Here we go guys, we're at the end of the 5 minute mark now, so let's stop that. We'll get this and we'll pour it into our fermenting vessel through the sieve that we've got here. We want to make sure we catch, whoa! Now, forgive me, but it's gone all steamy because obviously it's quite hot. There we go, look. There it is, it's all in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sieve that through, run some water through it. And 1 or 2 little bits of hops may have dropped into the fermenting bucket, but I'm not too concerned about that. That's not too much of a problem. You know, we do dry hopping all the time, folks, don't we? So don't worry about that too much. But all we're going to do in this instance is let that drain. So I'm going to do that and then we'll come back. Right folks, I've just thrown in the dry malt extract and now I'm chucking in the wheat. I want to make sure we get that in there. As much in there as we can, that's fine, that's absolutely fine. And then we need to give it a rigorous stir to make sure it's all melted and unclumped, and this is going to take a while folks, so obviously I'm not going to record me doing this because this is really boring, but I'll come back once I'm done. Right folks, you haven't seen me pour the tin in, but I can assure you I have done that. Obviously I didn't really want to record it because it's not much fun watching someone opening a can and chuck it into the fermenting vessel, is it really? What I've also done is I've thrown in about 2 litres of water, and what I'm going to do before I fill it up with the rest of the water is I want to make sure I've got rid of all of those clumps and that the Pilsner kit is mixed in with everything that's at the bottom. The malt, the hops and everything else before I fill it up to around about 21 litres. And there's the proof of the pudding folks. There's the Pilsner tin. I've just got a little bit, probably get a little drip out of that. There we go. Just didn't want you to think that I haven't chucked it in there. It is in there folks, trust me. And I've stirred this up, I think, as much as I can. I don't think we're really going to get it any smoother than it is. There's probably going to be a few lumps in there still, but you know, what can you do? I suppose we could have thrown it all into a pan on the stove and dissolved it there. That probably would have been a better idea. But hey, you know, I'm just following the instructions that I've found on the internet. I think Dino did it as well, didn't he? He's done more or less the same thing, so it should be okay. I don't hesitate to say that I think this is going to be a really good beer. It smells great. Just need to tip it up, fill it up with water now. So let's get on with it. Alright folks, there's the hydrometer in there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that in there. I can't really take a gravity reading properly at the moment because there's too much foam. But it looks like it's around about 1045, which is where I was heading for, which is absolutely fine. I'm really happy with that. That's exactly where I wanted it to be. Now what I'm going to do is put the yeast on. Give that a little stir, like so. Chuck the yeast in. That's it folks. The yeast is in there. All we've got to do now is get the lid on, get it into our temperature controlled beer fridge, get it down to about 16 degrees, something like that, and we'll let it ferment. So there we are then boys and girls, there it is in our temperature controlled beer fridge. As you can see, I've got the blowout tube running into some sanitised water, so if there's any problems, it shouldn't be, but just in case there's any problems, everything will go into there rather than all over the fridge. And at the moment the temperature is 19.6 degrees, 19.7. It'll come down gradually to around about 16 degrees. I'm probably going to leave it in there for 2 weeks just to make sure it's finished, and then I'll come back and see how it's doing. And here we are folks, a couple of days later, and as you can see it's fermenting quite well. There's some activity there which is good, and You can see the line there. So we know fermentation is taking place. We don't need to open it up and have a look in there. That's absolutely fine. I'm really happy with that. It seems to be doing what it's supposed to be doing. So thumbs up, folks. Bon Jovi. We're at the end of the video now, folks. This is the bit where I say hello to you. Let me just move this back a bit. Hello. Yeah, hopefully you found some of that useful. As you can see, it was basically just a bog standard hop addition to an existing Pilsner kit with some dried malt and dried wheat extract. Nothing too complicated really, you know, you don't need a degree in medical science to be able to do one of these. It's really, you know, a tweak to an existing kit really. Nothing too complicated at all. So, what's going on there, folks? What else is going on? Well, at the moment, I'm on a sabbatical from the beer for a bit. Which is odd really, as I'm still making beer, but there you go. I'm not actually drinking any at the moment. We did a cast last weekend, my first sober cast, folks, all the way through without a drink. I'm just taking a few weeks off because I want to have my yearly purge, folks. Every year I take at least a 2-week minimum away from any beer at all. And you know, sometimes I last a little bit longer, sometimes I don't. It's been a week and a day so far, not that I'm counting. So yeah, the Homebrew Wednesday videos may very well be a bit sparse over the next few weeks. Depends how I go. I've set myself, I think, a reasonable target of a couple of weeks just to stay away from it. Remember, you know, you guys are at work and keeping yourselves busy and stuff. I'm stuck at home all day, so the temptation to just go to the shed and open up a beer, especially when the weather is really good, is there all the time. So it's quite difficult to just say no, folks. Just say no. But you know, willpower and all that. You know, I'm a big fella, and sometimes I need a break from the beer. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. Don't know if you can hear in the background, as I just showed you in the previous 30 seconds or so part of the video. That will be the steam beer in the beer fridge. It's bubbling away, it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, so I'm happy that that's kicked off. The fermentation is taking place, which is always a good thing, folks. I've never done a sort of an ale with a lager yeast at ale temperatures, so we'll see how it comes out. Yeah, but that's all part of the steam clone, how you do it. It's the Mountain Goat steam clone beer. That's how you do it. And obviously you have Pilsner malt in there as well, which is what I have basically swapped out the Pilsner malt with the extract Pilsner kit. It may be alright, it may be okay, it may not be, it might be rubbish, it might be brilliant. Who knows? Who can tell? We'll have a little shufty in 2 months or so and see how we get on. Nothing else going on at the moment, folks. I've got a Mexican cerveza down here that I need to bottle at some point this week. I won't be recording that because, as we all know, bottling is a pain in the backside. No one likes bottling, you know. But this is what we have to do if we want to drink out of bottles. We need to put them in bottles, and they'll sit at room temperature for a couple of weeks. I tend to leave most of my beers to carbonate at room temperature in the kitchen for 2 weeks, always 2 weeks, and I've never really, touch wood and whistle, had any problems with beer not carbonating. It's always been absolutely fine. My ciders have always been brilliantly carbonated, my beers have always been brilliantly carbonated, and I've never had any problems. I prefer doing the obviously I prefer doing the bulk priming, but with the cerveza, because I've done that in a in the new Cooper's fermenting vessel, you know, with the lid that goes up and down, and it's got a tap on it. I'll probably just bottle it straight from that, to be honest with you, and I'll put some sugar in the bottles as I go. I need to get myself some sugar. I haven't got any sugar. I need to sort that out. And underneath the table here, where we are nested at the moment, folks, I've got the Irish ale that needs to go into the shed. That's finished fermenting. That's absolutely fine. That can go in the shed and rest for a couple of months now, probably, before I try it. And we'll do a beer review on that at the time. That's all for me, folks. I haven't really got anything else to say. Apologies in advance if it's a bit quiet on the Homebrew Wednesday video front for a bit. As I say, don't really know if I'm going to be doing very much more brewing in the next few weeks. I certainly won't be doing any drinking. That's the plan, folks. As you know, me and my plans don't always work out. Because shit happens, and you know, someone says something that annoys you and you have to have a beer to calm your nerves, or you know, just because life gets frustrating at times, isn't it? So that's it for folks, folks. See you on the next one. Hope you have a good week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. Few days, who knows. And we'll see you on the next one. Oh, before I go, thank you to the people that join me on my cast every week. We're talking about Mark. Cheers, Mark. We're talking about Mick. Cheers, Mick. About Gary. Cheers, Gary. Talking about Jackie. Cheers, Jackie. We're talking about Jen. Cheers, Jen. And who else have I forgotten? Oh yes, I can't forget Dominic, the Ibiza man. Cheers, cheers, Dom. And there may be one or two other people that pop in the cast, and they're there every week supporting me. So thank you to those people. You're always there, and I really appreciate your support. Thank you for that. There is apparently a known problem with the emails on Vaughan Live TV. People aren't getting the emails when casters go live and things. Vaughan Live TV know about it. They're blaming the service providers that you know, provide you guys with email addresses and things, and they're saying that if you switch over to a gmail.com email address, the problem will magically go away. They're not saying how that's happening, and they're not saying why that's happening, but apparently that's the case. However, I've spoken to a few people since then, since I've had that email from them telling me that that's the case, and they have Gmail themselves, and they're not getting any emails either. So what can you do, folks? Again, I've worked in IT for years, and it does seem strange to me that they're blaming email providers rather than their own network. Not saying that's the case, I'm just saying it doesn't really add up to me. Technically that is. But, you know, I'm happy to be proven wrong, and I'll just go with the flow. So, there you have it, folks. If you've signed up to me, you're following me, and you're sitting there waiting for my casts and wondering why you're not getting any emails, that'll be why. Switch to a gmail.com address and it'll magically fix it. Alright? Take that with a pinch of salt, folks. See you on the next one. Have a good one, folks. Ta-da!